वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरु गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वर गुरुर्साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृतं गमय। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति। Okay. We're going to start with our reciting of 12th chapter. Everybody ready? Okay. You ready? Okay. Arjuna Vacha एवं सततयुक्ता ये भक्तास्तां पर्युपासते
ये चाप्यक्षर
अव्यक्तं तेषां के योगविद्यमां। श्रीभगवानुवाच मय्यावेशमनो ये मां नित्ययुक्ता उपासते श्रद्धया पर्योपेतास्ते मे युक्ततमा मताः। ये त्वक्षरं निर्देशम् अव्यक्तं पर्युपासते सर्वत्र समचिन्त्यं च
कूटस्थं अचलं ध्रुवम् सन्नियम्येन्द्रियग्रामं
सर्वत्र समभूतये ते प्राप्नुवन्ति मामेव सर्वभूतहिते रताः। क्लेशोऽधिकतरस्तेषाम् अव्यक्तासक्तचेतसाम् अव्यक्ता हि गतिर्दुःखं देहावर्धितव्याप्यते। ये तु सर्वाणि कर्माणि मयि सन्न्यस्य मत्परा अनन्येनैव योगेन मां ध्यायन्त उपासते तेषामहं समुदार्ता मृत्युसंसारसागरात् भवामि न चिरात् पार्थ मय्यावेशितचेतसां। मय्येवामनादस्व मयि बुद्धिं निवेशय निवशिष्यसि मय्येव अत ऊर्ध्वं न संशय। अत चित्तं समादातुं न शक्नोषि मयि स्थिरम् अभ्यासयोगेन ततो मामिच्छाप्तुं धनञ्जय।
अभ्यासेऽप्यसमानोऽसि मत्कर्म परमो भव मदर्थमपि कर्माणि कुर्वन् सिद्धिमवाप्स्यसि। अतृप्तदप्यशक्तोऽसि कर्तुं मद्योगमाश्रितः सर्वकर्मफलत्यागं तथा कुरु यथात्मवान्। श्रेयो हि ज्ञानाभ्यासात् ज्ञानं विशिष्यते ध्यानात् कर्मफलत्यागस्त्यागश्चान्तिरनन्तरः। अद्वेष्टा सर्वभूतानां मैत्रः करुण एव च निर्ममो निरहङ्कारः समदुःखसुखक्षमी सन्तुष्टः सततं योगी यथात्मा दृढनिश्चय। मय्यर्पितं मनो बुद्धिर्यो मद्भक्तः स मे प्रियः। यस्मान्नो द्विजते लोको लोकानो द्विजते च यः। हर्षमर्षभयोद्वेगे मुक्तो यः स च मे प्रिय अनपेक्ष सुचिर्दक्ष उदासीनो गतव्यतः सर्वारम्भ परित्यागी यो मद्भक्तः स मे प्रिय यो न हेष्यति न द्वेष्टि न शोचति न काङ्क्षति शुभाशुभ परित्यागी भक्तिमान्ये स मे प्रिय समशत्रु च मित्रे च तथा मानापमानयो शीतोष्णसुखदुःखेषु समसङ्गविवर्जितः तुल्यनिन्दास्तुतिर्मौनी सन्तुष्ट येन केनचित् भक्तिमान् मे प्रियो नरः ये तु धर्मामृतं मेदं यथोक्तं पर्युपासते श्रद्धानामत्परमा भक्तास्ते तीव्र मे प्रिया ओम तत्सदिति श्रीमद्भगवद्गीतासु उपनिषत्सु ब्रह्मविद्यायां योगशास्त्रे श्रीकृष्णार्जुन संवादे भक्ति योगो नाम द्वादशोऽध्यायः। श्रीकृष्णार्पणमस्तु। ननु दरवाजा बंद करा दे यार ऑनलाइन। Okay, we'll start with our meditation. So let's have 2 minutes of meditation, real quick. Both hands on your knees, eyes closed, sit straight, and then focus on one thought. Just one thought coming in your mind. Try to bring only one thought, which is that I'm strong, I can achieve anything in this world. I'm strong and I can achieve anything in this world. Om Shanti. Open your eyes. Okay. Today when I was doing meditation, I just kept saying inside with my inner voice that I'm strong, I can achieve anything in this world, and that helped me just to focus on one thought rather than getting deviated. Usually, many thought comes with it. Oh, what do I need to achieve? And this and that. But I kept on saying in my inner voice, Keshani, can I get a glass? Okay. So, going back to our chapter number. I hope nobody forget about which chapter we are on when we get a break of couple weeks. So chapter number 5, right? Thank you, Alia. Chapter number 5. And now, who will tell me which shlok are we on? Chapter number 5, which shlok? Thank you. Anybody there? Anybody remember which shlok we are on? Which shlok? Yes.
13.
Yes, we finished 12th, like we were almost at the end of the 12th, and then we just have to finish the bottom line of the 12th and we gonna be on the 13th. So you are right. Awesome job, guys. Okay, so let's have a quick revision on the 12th. So 12th was, okay. So 12th was the person, the Karma Yogi. We are talking about Karma Yogi here. And what he does is giving up all the fruits of action, attain highest peace. So this person who is giving up all the fruit of actions, then it achieves the highest peace. We were talking about the peace last time. And then the person who works in the desire, this is the other person. The person who working with the desire, by the desire, that person is always attached to the results of action, to the fruits of action, and they are always trapped in karma. So they are always trapped in karma yoga, not karma yoga, karma, right? So make sure you find the difference. The karma yogi, the top one, what we were talking about, karma yogi is the one who is detached from the fruit of action, and that gets the highest peace. And then the person who is not like work by the desire, with the desire, that person is always trapped in karma, in actions, right? So that's what we were saying in slok number 12. We talk about, who is, how the fruit of action, giving up fruit of action, we discuss about that. We discuss about highest peace and what are the actions that's going to give the highest peace. We were talking about the technique of getting highest peace, right? Highest peace, first of all, you remember the definition of highest peace? What was the definition of highest peace? Remember highest peace? Anybody noted highest peace? Highest peace. What is highest peace? Yes.
There's something covering your screen.
Couldn't hear you, Raja.
There's something covering your screen. Can you pull from the board?
Oh, something is covering my screen.
It's like a pole.
Oh, the board. Yeah, the pole. Raja, the pole is coming in.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Thank you. Okay. So highest peace, I mentioned that the peace that is not bothered by anything, right? It stays. No matter what the situation is, the peace stays. It's not that, okay, it's so windy, the peace is not there. Or it's too cold, the peace is not there. Or the situation came when, I had to prepare for this exam, the peace goes away. Or the situation came when there is a big homecoming coming and my peace is gone, right? Not that kind of peace, right? That peace is like which comes and goes is not the highest peace. The highest peace is that whether it's a homecoming, whether it is the storm coming, anything coming, there is still peace, right? That's what the peace. See, you so much storm in the house, right? Somebody has to go for homecoming. Okay. So what I was saying, that highest peace is that is not bothered by anything, right? No matter what happens in the, we sick, we are not feeling well, or we are feeling very happy. In both cases, the peace is there, right? If we are very sad, still peace is there. If we are very happy, the situation can change, but the peace doesn't go. That's the highest peace. Now we were talking about attaining the highest peace, how we can attain the highest peace, right? So what was the first thing that we discussed last time to attain highest peace? What is the first technique? Anybody remember? It was a very regular rule, but it is very important in our life. Very much important. So there were two techniques. Yes. Sean?
No expectation.
Huh? No expectation. Awesome job. No expectation. No expectation, right? Any action that you do, I gave you an example, like, when you are getting your monthly salary, like, you are getting 25,000 monthly, right? Then what happens is, and you play a lottery and you got a lottery of $500. The 25,000 is expected. You will not be very happy that I'm getting 25,000 every month. It will come by itself and you will spend it. But as soon as that $500 unexpected came, that made you very happy because of that $500 unexpected come. So something when you don't expect and it comes, you are happy, right? When you are expecting it's coming, right? Okay, I am expecting that it's gonna be I will get 80 points on my exam, right? I did 80% questions right, so I get 80. But then that day teacher gave you +5. You will be more happy in getting that +5 than what you got 80, right? So when you don't expect something and happens, then you become more happy, right? So any action, when you put no expectation to it, these examples are very small example at the level of life. When you live the life and when things comes, you will realize that if you don't expect anything out of it, then what happens is your happiness is there. Your peace is there. So highest peace will be there when you don't expect anything out. Same thing when we don't expect any results, right, from our actions, right? This is the same thing when we don't, this is kind of results, right? We are doing the action, but we are not thinking about any results, like any fruits that are coming out of that curve, right? So that first point is, to get highest peace, we have to have no expectation. The second thing, you remember the second technique that I said? Yes, Raja?
The other day of love.
Yes. Love. Do everything with love, right? So there is nothing, and you will see this more and more as you start doing your job, and you right now you don't have responsibility of taking care of anybody, right? You don't have responsibility that you have to take care of this person, or you have to take care of that person, or make sure you have food for everybody, make sure you have money to spend for everybody. You don't have those responsibility right now, right? But as soon as you get those responsibility, you will realize that you are doing the actions, but there is no love in that action, right? So you have to make sure that you fill out love while doing the action. Because what happens is, when we start doing any action, we keep on thinking, okay, if I will do this, that will happen. And when that will happen, then that will happen. And when that will happen, the other thing will happen. And then that time, when every of these things will be happen, I will be happy. Then what happened is, it keeps going to next level, and happiness never came, because we decided that we will be only happy when that thing will come, right? So what happens is that we always keep postponing our happiness. by doing that, right? So we postpone the happiness of, oh, okay, when we will get, if I get in a good college, then I will be happy, right? Then what happens is, all these years that you are working in the school, that happiness got postponed to college, right? So you are not happy now. You are doing all these actions, you are not getting happiness anymore. Or I will be happy when I become this famous person, or this famous, or this, how much money we will have, or if I have a house, then I will be happy. What did you do? You postponed that happiness, and when the time comes, at that time when you have that house, or you are in that college which you need, or you have that much money, your happiness is postponed more forward by that time, right? That's why you have to make sure that the happiness stays when you do the action. When you're doing the action, that time the happiness should come. If that time it doesn't come and you are waiting for the results and fruits of that action to come, then the happiness is gone from your life, right? So that's one important thing to keep your highest peace in your life. First technique is no expectation out of your actions. Second is, all the action needs to be done by the love, but while doing that action, right? So when you have that love in that action, then what happened? Love everybody, whoever you are doing with action for action for, and then leave it there, right? So those are the two things that you have to make sure you decide now and today, because then what's happening is you are living the life, but then you are actually waiting for the future happiness to come, which we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Why are we postponing the happiness to 10 years from today, right? So that's very important for you guys to do it. Now in this shlok, the second line is, the person who works by the desire attached to the fruit of action, and then they are trapped in the karma. So he says that the problem, when the problem comes, right? The problem comes that, yes.
I have a question about highest peace.
Yes.
Like, okay, so highest peace is like when you're not bothered by anything. It's like expectations and love. So isn't that like just trying to be like temporarily happy as much as possible?
Happy while doing the action, Raja.
Oh.
And getting, so now I'm talking about this karma yoga, right? We are in karma yoga, so we have to discuss about the actions that we are doing. So every day when we are living the life, we have to do the actions, right? So now some actions you enjoy, no matter fact of life, that some action you will enjoy, but some action you have to do which you don't enjoy, but you should be doing,
And
right?
you should be like at peace.
With peace, yeah. If you do it with love, what's going to happen is, the action that you don't like, still you will like to do it because you're doing with love, right? In those actions you find the happiness into it while doing it. So every action, first of all, every action that you have to do it with love and happiness, and then no expectation, right? So those techniques, if you use it, then what happens is your life becomes with the highest peace you are living, and the permanent happiness comes. Then you are not unhappy for anything, right? So there is no temporary happiness, there will be permanent happiness. Got it? Okay. So now second part of the person. So who is this person who is working with the desire? Those are the person who know the knowledge, but they don't want to, it doesn't stay in. Why are we not using this knowledge? We know, right? Everybody, a lot of people know that no expectation and love is the answer to the highest peace. Why can we use it? Why a person is not able to use this knowledge? Anybody from online? Why the person cannot use this technique? Why we don't use this technique? What stops us using this technique? Anybody there? Why do we stop? Why we can't use these techniques? What stops us using this technique? We know it, I know it, I don't use it. You know it. You don't use it. Why? Hmm? Desires. Desires comes, right? But biggest thing what happen is a person has a knowledge, and then what they do? Yeah, Risha or Avi.
Is it because we're ignorant?
Because
We're ignorant?
we are ignorant. You are right. Yeah, what happens? And even go beyond this. We are ignorant, but you and me are not ignorant now anymore. We have the knowledge little bit, right? We know now what are we, right? We have learned the chapter 2, we have learned chapter 3, we already know the knowledge. We are no longer an ignorant person. Now what happens? Knowledge is given to us. Now why cannot we use it? Yes.
Is it because like we don't want to, or it's like too much effort?
We don't stabilize ourselves in that
We,
knowledge.
we like split like spiritual.
Like we're not thinking about it always. So
Always, all the time. That knowledge doesn't stay with us, right? The knowledge comes when we are sitting in Gita class. You and me always know that, okay, yeah, this is the right thing to do, this is the technique, we should use this. But what happens when we go out of the class?
You forget it all.
You forget it all, and then you use your sanskar, your behaviors to do the actions, right? So the knowledge doesn't stabilize in this. So that's the problem. And when we don't take the action like this, what happens is now we work according to our desires, right? So we take the action with our desires, and then the peace is gone. There is no peace anymore, right? You got it? So we know the problem now. We know the knowledge also, right? So we know the problem, we know the knowledge. Now we have to work on that thing, right? We need to stabilize that knowledge all the time. That's what we need to work on. So now, where are we born? Like, it says we get attached to the actions and the fruit of actions, right? That's what happened with us. Now, how can we take that attachment off of that? So there are two things that we need to work on. How can we take the attachment, how can we detach from the actions and fruit of action? So the first thing is, before doing the action, actually, there are 3 stages. Sorry, I will tell you another thing. So there are 3 stages. Before we do the action, while we do the action, while doing the action, and then third, results of the action, or while, after the action is done. So there are 3 stages of the action, right? Before doing the action is one stage in our mind, our life. Then while doing the action, we have one stage. And then after doing the action, after the action is done, there is the third stage. So now the mindset, right? Before doing the action, what do we think? That I am going to perform this action, right? I am going to do this action. Instead of this, as soon as we take our ownership off of the action, what happens is that pride of ownership goes away. So first thing, before doing the action, you have to take the pride off of the ownership. Pride of the ownership of the action, you have to take that away. The first step before doing the action. While doing the action, can anybody guess? While doing the action, what do you do? We just talk about it. Yes, Swara? Love? with happiness, right? So make sure that action is done. While doing the action, we find the happiness right then and there. Not looking for the action when the results will come. Not postponing our action, our happiness, right? So we are getting our happiness while doing the action. That's the second stage, right? Now the third stage is after getting the results, right? After the work is done. Now my work is done. Now what happens is, we wait for we are attached with the results. So detached with the result. What Swara said just now? Detach with the results. So these are the three steps. Three stages of the action. If we start working on before doing the action, the pride has to go away. Because whenever we do that, oh, I'm doing the action, that pride comes in us, the ownership comes in, then we are attached with the actions and results of action. We cannot get detached. Yes, Rajan?
What's the first one?
First one is before doing the action, and it says pride of the ownership of action. Pride. Okay? Then while doing the action, do it with finding happiness right then and there by doing the action. Right? And then the third one is after action, get detached by the results of the action. Got it? So that is the thing. Now, what are those kind of people who can do this? That is explained in verse 13. Let's read verse 13. Okay. You guys ready? Everybody has the book? Verse 13, ready? Ready? Sean, you want to read it? Okay. If you guys, anybody wants to read it, just tell me, okay? Anybody who is ready to read. Right now, Sean volunteered. Okay.
Sarva karmani manasa
Sarva karmani manasa
sanyasyasta sukamvasi
sanyastaste sukham vashi navadvare
pure dehi
navadvare pure dehi
deva kurvana karyam
neva kurvanna karayan. Very good. Okay. Together. Sarva karmani manasa sanyasyaste sukham vashi navadvare pure dehi neva kurvanta karayam. Okay. So here he says mentally renounced all actions, self-controlled. He is always stays happy in the city of 9 gates. Right? So now there are 3 parts of it. 3 parts of this verse 13. First is mentally renounce the actions. Second part is controlled self-controlled, self-controlled stays happy. Okay. In city of 9 gates. In city of 9 gates. First, in slok 12, he talked about highest peace. Now he talks about happiness. So happiness and peace are, I think in this used very, you can say it's a synonym to use in this, in Gita. Many times they are each other's, if you have a peace, you will have happiness. If you have happiness, you will have peace. So kind of used on, board of each other. So now this person who is yogi, we are already talking about the person who is yogi, right, from beginning of this chapter. So the person in yogi who is mentally renounce the actions. Now one thing you have to make sure you understand this very well and keep this in the mind. He is not talking about physically renouncing the action, right? Physically renouncing the action is what? If you physically renounce the action, what is it? You are not doing nothing, you are lazy, you are thumbsick, right? So mentally renouncing the action has a different meaning. Remember that. So here also the person is renouncing the action, but he is only renouncing it mentally, right? So that's the focus on this sloka. Don't just take the word mentally out of it, right? Don't take that mentally word out of it. Otherwise it will say, oh, renouncing the action, I don't have to do anything. That's what Gita says, let me give up everything and sit down. That's what Arjun was trying to do initially, right? With he has the emotional thing in going on at that time. But Krishna Bhagavan is trying to explain him, mentally renounce the actions, right? And then self-control, that person stays happy, right? So we have to look at it. Now, how can you mentally renounce the action? How can you do it? How can you mentally renounce? Yes.
You can say, I'm not doing the action.
I'm not doing the actions, right? When you don't have the pride of ownership, pride of doership, what happens is you can mentally renounce the action, right? So what you have to do is you do not have pride of ownership. So mentally renounce the action is first, I am not the doer. I am not the doer, right? That's the first thing. What would be the second? So giving up the feeling of doers, right? Giving up the feelings of being doer. The second one is giving the attachment to the result. Giving up the attachment to the results. Giving up the attachment to the results. Now if I tell you that mentally renounce the action, how can you do it? What are the 2 points that you can mentally renounce the action? First, by doing. Did you guys write both the points? Okay, what is the first one? How do you mentally renounce the action? First one is? Anybody can answer that. We just write it down. Reha, you want to answer it, Raja?
First one,
Yes.
I am the doer.
I'm not the doer. Yeah, okay. What is the, Reha, Alia, what is the second one? What? You cannot unmute it? Okay. Anybody from there? You guys can answer it. What is the second? No? Second is giving up the attachment to the results of action. There is only 2 things whenever we talk about any actions. So renouncing, the first one is I'm not the doer, right? The second one is not getting attached to the results of the action. That is renouncing mentally. Now, when we talk about it, another thing he says that he self-controlled and mentally renounced the action, right? The person stays happy. in the city of 9 gates. 9 gates, what he is, it's just a paradoxical language he is using. 9 gate city is our body, which has 9 gates. 9 gates means 9 openings. 2 eyes, 2 nostrils, 1 mouth, 2 ears, the genitaries, organs, and the anus, right? So it makes 9 gates. So he's talking about city of 9 gates. So he's talking about that the self living in this city of 9 gates, right? So he's talking about that person stays happy. Happy where? In this own body, it can stay happy, right? So that's what he is mentioning up here. Now, sometimes what happens, we do yeah, Raja.
What was this?
The second one? Second one was giving up the attachment to the results.
Okay.
Okay. Now think about that, right? Whenever we come and get to know something, right? Something what is good, we actually look into changing the other person, right? We think about that, oh, if that person gets this, how good it will be, right? We always look into the other person more than looking inside us, right? You remember that, what? We don't? We do. So, okay, you remember that I mentioned that it says बुरा जो देखन मैं चला बुरा न मिलिया कोई जो दिल खोजा आपनो मुझसे बुरा न कोई. So what we do is we try to find bad in other people, but when we look inside us, there is nobody bad more than us, right? So we are the worst one in the world when we look inside us. So first we have to do ourselves. Now we have to change ourselves. Don't expect anybody else to, this thing, write in a big bolded letter in your book. Never try to change anybody. That has to be in bold letters in your notebook. Never try to change anybody. Because nobody in the entire world gonna change when you are asking them to change. How much they love you, how much they praise you, how much they want to do it, nobody will change for you. So don't expect anybody to change. The person only change when they themselves want to change, right? Whatever you say, whatever you ask them to do, they will not do it until they themselves realize they want to do it, right? So nobody will change on you. So never put your energy to change anybody, right? When we think that, oh, if we get something, let's do it for the other person. If they start doing this, how good they will be, right? Oh, that person should change this way, then they will be good. Or this person should do this way, they should practice this way, then they will be good. That's never going to help you at all, right? So when he says that in this body, you need to do these things, then to stay happy in this body, in your own body. So whenever you do a spirituality or any action, you have to first do to yourself, then to think about anybody else. Right? Because he mentioned in this, why does he mention in this body? Krishna Bhagavan mentioned it. Krishna Bhagavan is mentioning that do it in your own body. Don't expect that everybody else to mentally renounce the action. Don't expect that. Don't expect that other person should do these two actions. Getting self-control and mentally renounce the action. You have to do it in this body, then you will stay happy. What happened? We say, oh, that person will change, then I will be so happy. Right? I will stay happy if he changes. Or if she changes, I will be happy. If my friend changes, her mindset changes, I will be so happy. So what we are doing in this case? Or parents think, oh, my kids obey us, then we will be happy. Right? And kids says, my parents will be the best parents or do good things to us, then I will be happy. That's not the case, right? Because we made our happiness dependent on others, we are always sad. our happiness should be dependent on ourselves, right? So that's what you need to see, and this is very seriously mentioned in this shlok, that mentally renounced in the action and self-control in this own body. So he's talking about yourself, not other people. So don't expect other people to do this action. You do by yourself and then you stay happy. So happiness is not dependent on other person, it's dependent on you doing this thing. Got it? Right? And then anything else in this shlok I missed? No. Okay. So we can move on to, you got this shlok? So it is the person who is mentally renounce all the actions and self-control is always stays happy in the city of this 9-gate. 9-gated city. So that's what he said in shlok number 13. Let's go to verse number 14. Anybody volunteering to read this shlok? No? Okay. Who's gonna read it? Amazing. Okay, ready? Everybody has the book open? Yes, okay.
न कर्तृत्वं न कर्माणि
न कर्तृत्वं न कर्माणि
लोकस्य सृजति प्रभु
लोकस्य सृजति प्रभु
न कर्मफलसंयोगं
न कर्मफलसंयोगं
स्वभावस्तु प्रवर्तते
स्वभावस्तु प्रवर्तते. All together. न कर्तृत्वं न कर्माणि लोकस्य सृजति प्रभु न कर्मफलसंयोगं स्वभावस्तु प्रवर्तते. Now what happened is, people say, oh, God did this so bad to me, my life is so terrible. Or if something comes, God did so good. Sometimes some people, but most people don't remember God when something good happens. But bad happens, God did the bad to their life, right? That happens a lot. But good also, some people do say, oh, this good thing happened with the God's grace, right? But bad thing always people say it happens because of God did something to them. God is upset at you, that's why the bad things happen, right? So God give the answer of that thing in this shlok. What is God saying? God is saying in this shlok that the Lord creates neither doership nor actions, nor the union with the fruit of action for the world, but nature manifests itself. Right? So God is washing his hands that I don't do doership, I don't do the actions. Right? He's saying, I am not doing any actions and I am not doing what? I'm not doing the actions, I'm not the actions, nor I'm doing the action, nor I'm giving you the results of action. Right? It is manifestation of nature. Now, the questions arises, right? So, when there is a doership, what? Okay. Don't disturb in the class. So, what happens is, like let's say, when we take a pride on eating food, right? I ate food, right? But do you take pride on I digest the food? Do you say I digest the food?
No.
Never, because what?
We don't do it.
You don't do it. There is no ownership on digesting the food, right? So there is no ownership, then what happens is, when the digestion happens, if something indigestion happens, do we say that, oh, you did so much virtue or you did so much bad things, that's why the pap and punya, you did lot of pap and or punya, that's why this thing happened to you, indigestion happened to you? right? It happens by itself because there is no doership of yours, right? So if there is no doership of yours, then there is no pap and punya with that action. Got my point? Right? Because when there is no doership, then there is no pap, no sin, and no virtue. Right? So if there is a blood pressure problem, do you do blood pressure up and down? Do you handle it like, oh, I did this, now I increased my blood pressure. No, now I decreased my blood pressure. Do you do that? There's no ownership to it, right? It happens, right? So when it happens, you don't say, oh, if their blood pressure is high, means they did a lot of sins. Oh, it's low, they did a lot of virtue. There is no attachment to sin and virtue to when there is no doership, right? So God here is telling you that He is not doing the ownership of the action or doer of the action, right? He is not taking both of them. Now, what happens? So then when ownership is not there, then the sorrow and happiness is also not there, right? Yes.
Right, okay. It might not be like blood pressure, but isn't there still like prarabdha karma where like if you do like that?
I'm going to come to that. That's where I'm going to lead to. Okay. So now Lord is saying that I'm not the doer. Now He is saying I'm not doing the actions, right? So who is doing the actions then? The question arises, right? Us. But now look at that. Whatever God made, there is no sorrow and happiness whatever God made. So if we see around you, right, the God made red color. Does red color gives you sorrow and happiness
I mean, it could.
itself? Just seeing a red color, does it give you sorrow or happiness? Right? The trees, the animals and this thing, right? So whatever God created, the karma that God created, we say that okay, God created all these things, right? Human also God created, but in God creation there was nothing that gives you that you have to be a doer. He did not created the doership. He did not created the actions, right? That is created by us. And when the rules were set, right? So the rules were set that if you do this action, your results will be this. If you do this action, the rules were set before. Like, how we play Uno. The rules are set. Now if somebody says reverse, then you have to do reverse, right? There is no other way you will pass that game. You will play the game without doing reverse when it is reverse, right? The same way, if electrician have discovered that electricity is worked this way, right? And he explained the electricity will work this way. There are all the rules of electricity he explained. But then this gentleman goes and put his finger in the socket of electric socket and he gets shock. Is it fault of that scientist who discovered the law of electricity? Can we put the fault on that scientist that, oh, you scientist, you did electricity, you put the law of electricity, and I put my hand in the socket and I got the shock. It's your fault. No, right? The same way, we cannot complain God of creating this world and then say, I'm gonna put my finger in the socket. God, what did you give me the shock? Got my point? Right? Yes.
Alright, keep going.
Okay. So, the result of actions also God doesn't give it to you. You got that? Right? So, three things God says, I don't do it. I don't do doership. I don't create doership. I don't create actions. And then results of action also, I don't give it. Now, with that says, so ownership in combination, in combination of actions or karma. Let me write actions. Gives results. God did not created this. God did not created this, God did not created this. So all three steps God did not create. That's what God is saying in this shlok, right? So where does this come from? Who does the actions? Who creates ownership? And who creates the results? Right? So in this situation, you says, who construct? We construct. All these things, we make it. God did not give it to us. We did it. So ownership, we created it. I am the doer, we created it. I am doing this work, we created it. And the results of action, we created it. Right? So now think about this. God says, in the Shlok language, he says, the behavior, the nature manifests itself. Right? That's what he says. I don't do this, I don't do this, I don't do this. The nature, the Prakriti manifests itself. Now, how Prakriti manifests itself? You need to think about that. Prakriti, nature. Prakriti, nature. Now, you are expert on this. What is Prakriti gives? What is the Prakriti? 3 gunas that Prakriti gives. 3 gunas that Prakriti gives. 3 gunas, guys. Everybody knows these 3 gunas. I just said today 1 already. Yes, guys.
Tamasic, Vatsic, and Sattvic.
You got it. Further. Rajasic, Tamasic. You guys are expert in this. Sattvic. Okay. 3 gunas are given by the Prakriti. This is Prakriti's role. They gave 3 gunas to you, right? Now, added with our sanskar. Added with our sanskara, we do an action, right? Now, what is sanskar? Because we need to know what is sanskara. That is very important thing. Now, think about it. We wash our clothes, right? All the clothes are in washing machine. We put soap and everything. It got washed, right? Now, we forgot to put those clothes in dryer. All the clothes are not in